Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
This live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
All right. Welcome back to Live Talk. I am your host, Arthur Jeremiah, alongside my two co-hosts, Minister Samuel
Hey, welcome back to Live Talk, everyone.
and the spiritual ambassador, Yika Ezekiel.
Peace. Good afternoon.
All right. Before we go to anything, let's go to our general statement and disclaimer.
General statement. Live Talk is proudly powered by TBS Goodwill, Builders of the Highway Foundation, and Men of Purpose. Together, we're bringing about awareness to the everyday challenges facing individuals, communities, and our nation. We tell our stories, listen to yours, and always respect different perspectives. Want to share your voice? Email us at livetalkoril@gmail.com to be a guest, or if you would like to contribute to our mission, purpose, go to livetalkoril.com to give a donation. Disclaimer. Information provided during this event and others to come does not constitute the official opinion of Live Talk or its affiliate entities. It is strongly recommended that viewers seek independent expert advice regarding any topics discussed, as legal requirements differ significantly across jurisdictions and are subject to frequent changes. If you have questions or concerns, you can always email us at livetalkoril@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Facebook and or Instagram at Live Talk Orlando.
All right. We had to get that out of the way. My brothers, how are we doing, Minister?
Hey, well, it's a great day as we hear the day of our show, but it's like it's MLK Day, so it's a big thing for everybody going on around the country. So it's always a great opportunity for us to come together with some perspective for us as a people.
Awesome. Ezekiel, how you doing?
Magnificent. Brother just alluded to, this is a weekend that is dedicated to the dream. So let's all be like the doctor, have our own dream.
Indeed. I agree with both of you brothers. It is that weekend. We do want to highlight Black excellence. As we get into our show today, we're going to be talking about some things centered around that. So I'm very excited, happy about that. So I hope my family out there is doing just as well as we are, and you're getting, into the vibe of this weekend as well. We're going to give you a quick rundown of the show today. First, we'll have the minister word of today, or quote. Right after that, we'll go to a commercial break, and then we'll come back with our main topic. Our main topic today is soft life, real life, the rise of joy. We like to say Black joy, but joy in general in 2026. And then we'll go to another commercial break, and then we'll come back with some unity news. We're going to see what's on our brother Yika Ezekiel's mind. Then we'll get ready to close out with either a motivational quote or reading from the host. So with no further ado, Minister, is the word of today.
Right. The word of the day for January the 16th, 2026 is going to be peace. The word peace. And peace can be defined as mental or emotional calm. Peace is a state of mutual harmony between people or groups, especially in personal relations. Peace is a state of security or order within a community provided for by law or custom. It is the freedom from oppressive thoughts or emotions. Peace is freedom from war and violence. It is also not being interrupted by worry, problems, noise, or unwanted action. Some synonyms are harmony, stability, serenity, tranquility, order, and quiet. And a quote on peace is, when you find peace within yourself, you become the kind of person who can live at peace with others.
All right. Powerful. Peace is our word of today. We want to remember that as we go throughout the program today. And I want to thank you, my brother, for that word of today. We're going to go to a commercial break and we'll be right back with our main topic.
At NOY Store, we bring culture, style, and wellness all in one place. Explore our collection of cultural apparel designed to inspire and connect. From t-shirts to polos, boldly tell your story. Need guidance on your journey? Check out our books written to inspire and support your spiritual, personal, and community growth. And give your body the care it deserves with our health and wellness products like natural toothpaste, soothing body butters, and more. We're always adding new products to empower your life so you can live with purpose and style. Visit NOYstore.com today, where culture, wellness, and inspiration come together. Shop at NOYstore.com.
Welcome to my life where, yes, sometimes the biggest businesses in Florida ask me to come visit. They really got to start paying me, bro.
We out here at Tampa, Boca, Orlando, Jacksonville, and I even sometimes make it to North Carolina, baby.
With all that traveling, guess who has no idea how to turn those into tax write-offs, deductions? Wait, bro, never mind that I'm Bigfoot, I can't even read.
Things get sketchy out here, not just for my personal taxes, but also my videos. But as usual, Bigfoot knows a guy.
Scott and Associates, man. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a nonprofit founder, a startup, or an established company, you deserve a partner who understands your goals. And these guys do.
They specialize in bookkeeping, payroll, business consulting, IRS representation, and cleanups that give you a fresh start. No judgment, just solution.
I'm not sure what you're doing still scrolling reels. Get ahead of the feds this time. Call Scott.
And remember, y'all, when it comes to taxes, you can always count on Scott. Peace.
My friend. Oh, all right, family. Welcome back. My mic was muted. So welcome back again to the live talk. Today, today's topic, what we're going to be talking about is soft life, pretty much soft life in real life. You know, we talk about, you know, the internet talks about soft life, but today we're asking, what does that actually look like in real life? So for the so-called Black man and for others in just general, what does that look like? And I think our audience question of today is, what's the audience question of today?
Is soft life a lifestyle or a luxury?
Is soft life a lifestyle or luxury? So if you're listening, if you see that question of today, please do comment. We want to talk about that. And then we also just want to talk about, why does rest feel uncomfortable for us? We want to get into some of the things that we talk about on the norm, but don't process in a way that, you know, we can really see the real side of things. You know, we talk about soft life, but what does that really look like? So we're going to dig a little bit into that, brothers, today, talking about soft life versus real life, especially in the Black community. You know, it's almost like a myth, but we're going to talk about it. And I would say, when to some, it can be a lifestyle or a luxury, because we're talking about, is soft life a lifestyle or luxury? And I think to some it can be a luxury. To others, you know, we have to see, but then we have to talk about the tax bracket. We were talking about that before. It depends on what tax bracket that you're in. You know, if you're in the 37% tax bracket, then when we talk about lifestyle, then that may just be a lifestyle for you, because then you making over $500,000, bringing that in and you're profiting $500,000 or better. But for some, it can be a luxury, because if you're in, and this is me, in my opinion, I'm gonna let you brothers kind of weigh in on that. From some others, it can be a luxury where, as you begin to start making some money, you want to transition a little bit as you get older. You want to transition a little bit, into retirement. So I think it can be both. And it just depends on what tax bracket you're in, and then also, where you're at age-wise. What your brothers think?
Well, I think that's definitely what it got to be, because depending on my paycheck, it's going to depend on whether this is my particular lifestyle or this going to be just a luxury that when I get a bonus or I done saved up, then I can take that trip. I can do some things that would put me in the lifestyle of the rich and famous, even though I'm not. But I can be for that moment, because I pool my pennies for that particular thing. I know in 6 months, summertime coming, I want to go on a cruise, so I start saving now. That way I can have that lifestyle for the moment. But if I'm in that bracket, as you says, if I have a business that's bringing me in, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, then this is a normal.
Amen.
Yeah, for sure. Because I look at it like financially, like people, we are beginning to understand as a community the importance of therapy and working on self. But here's two different, like, it's a good thing, but if you're like, some people go to therapy because they know it's a part of their mental, physical, and overall well-being, and they're doing it as an enhancement. Because if you have the income, it's not an issue. You can schedule it as needed or on a regular basis. You don't have to be having a problem. It's like maintenance.
Right.
Yet you can be on the other side of that spectrum where you need the therapy to deal with real life issues. But your income might not be the same as the person making $400,000 a year. So you may can't afford the therapy that you need, though you need it. So then in one case, it may seem like it's a lifestyle. The other case, it might be a need. Like he mentioned that vacation. It's great to go on a vacation. That's a good thing to plan. The other person, you might need that vacation to literally deal with stress to keep you like Bigfoot from jumping off that cliff, okay? Whereas the other person might be standing up there, they looking at the view, see how beautiful the city is.
Right.
Another person literally might be looking over that cliff thinking, I need to just end this. So there's definitely a difference. And your income and where you are definitely plays a big difference.
I agree. And then a part of it, of course, like you said, your mental health. But I don't, just kind of looking back, like even entertainers, like who it was, Robin, that killed himself, although he had money, the one that played on Mark and Mindy. What's his name?
Robin, I know exactly. Yeah. Can't call his name right now. Yes.
And at the time, I couldn't really understand that, because I say, okay, make a move. He got plenty of movies out there. I'm pretty sure he's getting, money coming in. Like, why would you want to end your life when you can live a life of luxury if you choose to? So it's things like that you think about when it comes to those type of moments. Sound like you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, but it goes back to what you were just saying. So that letting you know, money don't secure happiness. I can have the money. You're taking this guy right here that was a millionaire since the 70s.
Right.
But yet chose to end his life. Why? Because he was having mental issues that no amount of money could overcome. Think about it. You can be rich, but when your body shuts down and you become sick, or have some type of disease, that money is worthless to you. So mental health is the most important aspect, because if your mind is right, then you'll be able to accumulate all the money that you want. But if your mind is off focus, then you're going to stay in the poverty level, which will lead to a high rate of what America has now, suicide.
No, see, when you mention that, it just brings to mind, because I'm old school. See, I think back, if anybody remember, Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, it's like they made The Closer I Get to You, that was a phenomenal song. And that even got brought forward by Luther and Beyonce. I mean, as classic as that was, and you would think he was on top of the world. Him and Roberta Flack, then the next thing we know, he commits suicide. And that came out of nowhere. And it's like, well, we just listening to him and he producing all of this. But then in the very next minute, he takes his own life.
But see, that going back to when we're talking about the soft life versus real life.
Real life.
Yeah. So it's like, yes, we have this ideal of what a soft life is, but what the reality of that is. So when it comes to like rest, for instance, in the Black community, it's probably abroad, rest becomes uncomfortable for us. It was one of the rappers that said, I sleep when I die. So it's almost like, that mindset we have developed. So now rest has become very uncomfortable. So why does rest feels uncomfortable for us? Because that's a part of soft life.
Because we're in a position, we're born into an atmosphere that it's a struggle out of the gate. It's a struggle. We're born into a hard life. So now we have to put in work. We have to grind. We have to have that discipline to focus to reach the soft life, which is everybody in the hood's goal. However, in order to get there, you have to be on the grind. So you don't have the luxury of rest and taking time off, because you're going to get behind like that right there. So you always on go. And this is what causes the mental breakdown. You're not giving yourself a TV time out to be able to stop and focus and realign and see that, okay, as I'm grinding, I'm growing in different areas. Therefore, my viewpoints, my values are altering with that. But I'm not taking the time out to realize I'm not the man I was yesterday or last week or last month. And I'm not changing my values to be able to align with who and what I am today. So therefore, I just don't have the time to rest, because the day I take off, the next man, he running that much harder. And we get that mindset, our coaches drill that into us, into the sports program, that, okay, when you ain't practicing, people on the other teams that's in the same position, they practice. So they gonna outdo you, even though you may have greater natural talent than him, but he putting in that work that you not putting in, so he gonna surpass you. So now we got that on the go mentality. And now when you say, man, sit back, kick your heel, oh boy, I ain't reached my goals yet. I can't afford to sit back and rest right now. I got too much I gotta do. And that mindset has permeated our communities, and that's why we feel rest is, what that is. That's unknown. That's a myth to us. That went the way of the dinosaurs in our community. I'm living over here. I ain't got time to rest, man. You see what the people got now, bro. I got to put it in work. And unfortunately, it leads to the deterioration of the mentality, because we're not checking the mentality. And as we said earlier, because we feel that therapy is something for other communities. I might find out that me as a Black man going to therapy, he got to be crazy.
Yep.
That's the stigma. He crazy. Only crazy people go see therapy. Instead of understanding that you're getting therapy, which is counseling. You may get that from friends, family members, spouses on a regular basis. But when you go into this particular setting that's exclusively for that, now I'm crazy.
Something wrong with you.
Right.
Yes. And I need help. And if something is wrong, why not get help?
Right.
And it's unfortunate that it's a part of our culture now. And it's giving me, like, what did 50 Cent say? Get rich or die trying. It's like, yeah, I get that. But at the same time, that's not a good thing. It can be a good thing, but that can also be a not good thing. Because it's like, we shouldn't be dying.
Right.
Let's look at living.
Right.
Let's get rich while we live. Let's not die trying.
You know, that's two powerful statements, you know, when we talk about rest, because that is the stigma in our community, because we feel so behind. We feel behind everybody, every culture, every nationality. And we feel like, you know, it's not time for that. Until we can catch up. And we just have to realize we're 400 years behind these people. You know, it's hey, that's the reality of it. You know, and we're not going to catch them overnight.
No.
You know, not trying to rest. The biggest thing I mean, I would say for myself is to invest in your future. You know, invest in the youth, whether it's your nephew, nieces, your children, grandchildren, etc., so that they can get a jump start ahead instead of you trying to put so much in. Yes, we have to, you know, be that first of everything, because we are almost the first of everything, right? Once we become conscious of the things that need to take place, and then we focus and put our mind towards doing it, we become the first of, you know, doing whatever that thing is in our family. But you can be that, but also, you know, respect your body. I just say respect your body, because without it, you can't do anything. And if you don't give it the proper rest, then of course it's going to, you know, it's going to shut down on you. So let's be real about that. So I mean,
That's the real life part.
that's the real life part of that, you know. Because I mean, trying to reach that soft life, you know, it will take some things, and I mean, you have to go through some things in order to that point. That's the reality of it. But let's get into the joy. Let's look at the joy, checking in on the joy. What's one of the things that's been, I would say, one of the things that have given me joy lately, just coming into 2026, being in the first month of this calendar year, I have to highlight one thing that's giving me joy. And I think you and I can both be on the same page with this one. My grandson, I tell you, man, every time I see him, he brings that type of joy that one would be looking for when it comes to peace, that word that you shared with us, when it comes to peace and just the, you know, being in the moment, you know, of having that soft life. And I just feel the joy of that anytime that I'm with him. And I want to know, like, coming into this year, what's been, you know, one of the joys lately, I would say, for you brothers coming into this year? Want to tackle this first.
Well, I'm gonna follow you. It's because as a new grandfather with my most recent one, that joy, we have a connection to where outside of his parents, because even when he get tired of them, when I come around, he attracts to me like a magnet. And there's a special thing that, you know, I give to him, but he give to me also. And now that we're in this, like, I want to say this is the first generation where we actually talk about and are beginning to understand, like we talk about transitional generational wealth, because we as a people, we basically were surviving. We were survivors. And, you know, once we were gone, it was a survival. Whereas under other people, it was a part of their culture to pass things down to their children and their grandchildren. We are just becoming conscious of it. So it's joyful to see that, okay, now I understand. And I can see the reality, because I can see a little me that'll be able to take that into the next generation.
No, and just to, you know, to pick it back, but bounce back off of that. That, like you talking about that connection, same thing with my grandson. Like, he can be like in a crowded room. I don't know when we was at the event.
Yes.
He was walking through the door and he spotted me and he just started gravitating towards me. That's that true connection. See, remember, they come from the Most High now. So that spirit is kindred spirits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just being able to, you know, for him to give me that much, you know, attention, I mean, it's just a lot of peace that comes along with that, you know, and it brings me joy, So that's one of the things that I would say coming into this year. My brother?
Well, for me, it's being able to help out less fortunate comrades that I have that are still in captivity, able to, be there for them for the moment of trial. Have one of them about to release. That's a great job. 28 years of life. Beautiful thing.
No, that is. I tell you, anytime that was one of we as ministry when we had the thank you it was the yeah
Just came back.
yeah I think as when we had the prison ministry, and we're talking about family, we're talking about soft life versus real life, and we're also talking about purpose. Well, I want to highlight that as well, because as humans, we have a responsibility to one another. And what my brother just mentioned was a part of just having that responsibility. When you see someone in need, you want to reach out to them. And it brings joy. And, it just brings joy and peace when you can help somebody without, taking away from yourself. Because sometimes we can try to help everybody else, but don't help ourselves. And I think when you can really come into who you are and be able to reach out to others and help others, I think that's a beautiful thing. So by all means, that's one of the most beautiful things that I have experienced in this lifetime, when I can reach out to others, when I can go to the prison and talk with brothers. We never get to the point where we go to the prison to talk with sisters, but we was able to go and talk with the brothers, and I think at that time it brought them brothers so much joy, and was able to go in there and just talk with the brothers. So I think that's definitely a beautiful thing coming into this year, and then just making that intentional about coming into this year. And speaking of the word intentional, I am intentional about decreasing of doing less of what I would say beating around the bush, if you will. And just being open, So just what are you intentionally doing less of this year, like going into this year, that you feel like it's going to bring you some type of, it may not bring you peace in a moment right then and there, because it's something that you have always shied away from, I'm pretty sure. But just knowing that you're going into this year and just being intentional about one thing, that one thing for me is not beating around the bush, trying to be open, but also trying to be tactful at the same time. Because one can be, straightforward, but in a way that's not tactful, and then it comes off wrong, and now both egos are going, battling against one another because of how one may have said something. So I want to do less of beating around the bush and just being more open to, in conversations and when we're in groups, etc. What are some things that you are intentional about going and want to just do less of going into this year?
I know with me, it's one that it is a journey, but like the word of the day was peace. Our brother was talking about sharing with somebody on freedom, because when you can help somebody share with their freedom, it's immeasurable, because they can see it in you, and that they can know that a part is coming. I know with me, it's like stress can be all around you, and I am actively working on eliminating, minimizing it, like daily. Like I seek to live it each day stress-free, and not allow the cares of the world, even though we have to function in it, but not to allow it bring you down. Like when it say we're supposed to be in the world, but not of it. And as fast paced as things are, and as hyper polarized as things are, it's easy if you allow yourself to get caught up into it. Like how we talking about soft life, real life, to be able to like just take a step back and not allow it to get you. You can be a part of the rat race, but not be stuck in it. To be like, I can be there and I'm functioning. I can be a part of this corporate construct and I'm working in it, but I'm not going to allow it to pull me down to stress level where that bridge. I'm glad we're talking about soft life, real life, but making that a reality, because it's very easy to just slip back and not realize that you got all of these burdens that you're carrying. Most of it comes from stress.
Yes.
Well, one of the things that I'm trying to accomplish and extremely intentional about is learning new skill sets so that I can acquire that soft life. Right now, there's no rest when you're fighting the war of poverty. So it's about learning new skill sets that will allow you to reach your goals, being more intentional about what I want, what tools I need to make what I want a reality, meaning what videos I gotta watch, what books I gotta read, what seminars I got to attend, be able to get complete knowledge of this subject matter, be able to apply it so it allow me to reach financial goals that I have for myself in the next few years. That's what I'm extremely about right now.
Beautiful thing. You know, we like I said, we talking about the soft life versus real life. And the reason we highlighted like our community, because that's where built is at discrepancies are. So when it comes to, soft life versus real life, I have a client, and like in his 60s, and he should be at the point where he's tiring. He just, he was one that just got out the hospital and, just kind of dealing with some illness. And I'm just saying to myself, as a accountant, it's like, okay, we have to start planning for retirement, because we can't continue to do this here. Somewhere you have to plan for a soft life, because if you're going to do this hard life, the rest of your life, it ain't going to be, in my opinion, a life of joy, because you're constantly at it. You constantly at it. So even to your point, we have to put ourselves in situations where we can produce for ourselves financially so that we can start to put money away for retirement. And if we have children, putting money away for the children, we have grandchildren, putting away money for them. We just opened up a 529 plan for all our grandchildren, and we got 10 of them, so that's a lot of them. So money had to go towards that. But see, you have to be conscious of that. You have to be conscious that, hey, we have to, the scriptures say, you lay away an inheritance for your children's children, and that's a very important scripture, because if you don't look at that from a standpoint of, that generation skipping generation, then you're not going to that next generation after that is what a generation after that going to die off, and the next generation after that is already dead. So they have to try to come up and try to, recreate things. So when you're in a position, when you're conscious of certain things, you do need to put the work in. And sometimes it may be a little hard work in the beginning, but somewhere in the mix of that, we have to begin to prepare for that soft life, that retirement, that the vacation we're talking about, those things like that. So with that being said, when we talk about the soft life, and we may look at and within our community, and we may look at that. Well, I ain't gonna say within our community. People outside of our community can look in our community and say that's being lazy, you know. But when you done put the work in, that's not being lazy. When you think about it, you go back in history here, you know, that's a whole nother story. We built this country, so there's no way we can be lazy when we built majority of the country. We should be getting reparation. This is just my opinion. Someone should be able to sit back and get reparations if we want to call government assistance. You know, I call it reparations. But if if we live in that soft life and people are saying that's a lazy life, and we know it's about being intentional, why do people think rest equals laziness? Especially coming outside of our community and looking in.
I believe that when people see you at rest, they figure you're lazy due to the fact that they're used to seeing everybody in motion. They're used to seeing that right there. So when you're at a standstill, they think something is wrong with it. But you have to understand, especially in the Black communities, they're not born into the soft life. So when you see somebody with the soft life, you have to step back and ask, how did they reach that point? Because they wasn't born with the silver spoon. So at some point, he or she had to put in some work and some type of labor at some type of job, whether they was entertainers, sports figures, or plumbers, whatever. They did work at some point. You're catching me in my later development. So now you're seeing me as I'm just laid with my feet back. You didn't catch me in my infant and young stage when I was working 12, 14, 15 hours a day. You met me, you know, I'm over 50, over 60. Yeah, I got a soft life. But for them first 20, 30 years, it was hard clocking in. So people developing that mindset and making that type of judgment on you without having a knowledge of where you've been, of your past, to where you can get. Now you're sitting back and resting. Think humanity is just used to seeing motion. When they look around in their neighborhoods, they seeing everybody always going to work. So if you the only one ain't never going to work, they're gonna wonder what you got going on. And then our communities are not teaching you about passive income. So I work, I saved up enough money, I acquired these apartment buildings, I'm renting them out. So I'm living off of that right there. So I ain't got to have a 9 to 5. That's why you see me sitting home all the time when you come over here. But you don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. So you make a snap judgment that, man, every time I go over there, he over there sitting there watching TV. He ain't never doing nothing. Everybody else, no matter what time of the day I go, he's there. But you don't understand, you got 3, 4 different streams of income coming in from the work that you did do before they met you, before they knew what you had going on. So for them to make that judgment, I just think that society has been conditioned to think that everybody has to be on the go. Everybody's on a certain level, you know, because the mass majority of people are right at or below the poverty line. So that's why they think you lazy if you ain't working. They're gonna automatically think you fit that demographic of people. So when I meet you and I notice the demographic that you're in, yeah, buddy just lazy. Now understand that even though you're in that culture, you're not a part of that demographic people. You are a retired sports star, we'll say. So you didn't had the millions of dollars. So now you got a soul life. But since I never saw your name in the paper, saw you on the newspaper, I don't know who you are. I just know every time I see you sitting around watching TV.
Well, do you think that's like probably, I think it's more of that in this capitalist society, if you will?
Yes, because it's like everybody's programmed to be on the grind to get. And the difference is specifically in our community, it's kind of like we were the servants, if you would say. Like, for example, you're a tax professional. I go back 20 years. There were some, but it was less. Go back 50 years. There was probably very little, if any, in our community. But other communities had it then, but we were working for them. We were building the wealth of the country, but we weren't getting any of the benefits. So it's easy to look at us and expect us to always be out there pushing the engine that drives capitalism. Now that we have made a step to where now we can take part of it and understand that system, it's easy to look at someone and say, oh, well, they must be either doing something wrong, did something wrong, or they lazy because I don't see them doing that grind, because we were the ones who were programmed. Literally, we were supposed to be the mule. And now if we no longer the mule, it's like, well, who gonna be the mule? We supposed to be the mule. And now you want to reverse it and say, well, now it's some kind of discrimination, reverse discrimination. Like when you say with reparations, my God, we built this country, and you can deny it off slave labor. That was off the 90% or more that was black labor. Now we did have some of our Asian and other family members who was, but none treated as worse as we were, and none got put in the amount of work and got nothing out of it. So now that we're at a point that where we can begin to, I just dip our toe into it and then pull some of it back. You want to look at it and say we lazy. No, that's because we are finally stepping up and taking part what should have been ours from the beginning. So it's like, yeah, you can get a real crazy skew if you're looking at it from the wrong perspective.
But some people can come over here from different places, and it's almost like the stigma within their mindset is, oh, black people in America is lazy. They don't want to work. Like, let's look at the history. Let's consider history first before we start saying those type of things. Now, there's a lot of us, we love to work. I mean, I would feel incomplete, like going through a day without doing something, which is crazy. Like what you were saying, like I should feel like if I got passive income coming in and I'm making money, like what you mentioned, why should I feel incomplete because I didn't do anything physical that day? That's crazy. But that's the mindset. Like you have to do something. Like I got to do something, because we're thinking outside of ourselves and we worried about what everybody else think and what everybody else is saying. So it puts us in a position that I got to do this, I got to do that. It's some things so it's like those are type of things that we have to, I think, get past when it comes to understanding the soft life and living that soft life. Because otherwise, the reality of that is we're living a hard life and we end up dying from living a hard life because we can't, enjoy our latter days because of this mindset of it. We need to consistently be doing this, that, and the other. Now, workout can be a thing. Some people feel like they got to move. Well, work out. Do some cardio. Do something that can keep the body moving and in motion. But, again, doing hard labor, in my opinion, especially when you get to a certain age, should be out of the question. This should be out of the question. So with most people, when we think about, the soft life, is it kind of rebranding like self-care? Because we talk about self-care. We always talk about self-care. Me and my wife, we would try to do self-care. Like every other Sunday, we would go out and do something. I might do some, what is that with your feet? Your pedicure? With pedicure, the feet, right? Yeah, the pedicure. So I may do that, get my legs massage, feet massage. Those are type of things that I think we talked about earlier, like, some of the temporary things that we can do, like to create that soft life for ourselves. But, we labeled that self-care, but it's a part of soft life, but it's self-care. And it's almost like that soft life, are we rebranding that to be self-care? Because everybody talk about self-care right now. And that's like, is that kind of like rebranding the soft life?
I think that self-care is part of it. It's a branch of soft life because when you're not physically taxing the brain or the body with hard work day in and day out, then you have that time to be soft because now muscles ain't working as hard because you ain't working 40 hours a week no more, 10 or 12 hours. So you're putting less strain on the body, less strain on the mind. So that's a part of the benefits of soft life. But until you can reach the totality of the soft life, then you just hit one of the branches, which is the self-care. Because we said without self-care, there is no soft life. I always said your first wealth is your health. So if you're not physically and mentally sound, then you're never going to reach a stage of a soft life. Self-care is a must. That's supposed to be the very first and most important aspect of humanity because your body is the machine. This is your vehicle that's going to get you wherever you want to go in life. So it's like your physical car, you want to take care of it. You're not going to never change the oil, change the filters, wash the car, or never put gas in the car and think the car going to perform as the manufacturers made it to perform. That's just not going to work. So if your body is a machine, are you making it perform the way your creator wanted it to perform, or are you putting the wrong gas in it that's going to prevent you from reaching that soft life because now you're being physically sick, which means you're missing work days, which means you're missing money, which means you're never going to reach that tax bracket where you can begin to enjoy the soft life. So healthcare is a must and big part of soft life once you reach it. Right now, as you say, on the grind, you get it in bits and pieces. You know, the spas, all that is not a regular thing. Don't do this when we can. It's a luxury of the hard life right now. Something that you're working toward.
Since you mentioned that, I got to get an oil change. I'm glad you brought up the vehicle analogy. Yes.
But see, you said, but that's the thing with this soft life. Consider the person who has, you living in the lap of luxury. You're traveling. You're on vacation. You're in a board meeting, but you're getting the manicure, getting the pedicures. But the person who's out here performing hard labor, they need more of that soft life. You would think, literally, they would need it to not allow their feet and their hands to break down, but they get less of it because there's been a stigma about the soft life, almost if there's something wrong with that part of the soft life. But you're the one who you really need somebody to give you a pedicure and rub your feet to take off some of the labor and the burden that you've been putting on it or the stress that you brought. So it's really okay to go get that. But if you're not getting it because you're so busy running a hard life, when you really need that soft life to get you a break so you can go back out there and get it. Whereas the person who living in a soft life, they're actually getting it because they need it also, but the other one is missing it because the reality gets set in of hard life, soft life. I'm gonna just deal with them.
I guess which leads me to like just, you know, when I'm thinking about the soft life versus the hard life or real life, you know, we always try to classify like men and women. And, you know, where when it comes to a woman is more soft. So you think about self-care, like self-care is not for men. A man may look at self-care a little differently than a woman would.
Yes.
I used to, you know, and sometimes men, like if you're getting a manicure or a pedicure, like another man can look into like, man, that's like, you know, like feminine.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's like, and then like if a man really wanted that, like, man, I do want that, you know, now you feel like you're gonna be judged by another man. And now you feel like now it's like you're gonna avoid the self-care because you feel like somebody gonna talk about you. You're worried about somebody else opposed to listening to yourself because you know you need it. You know, we know we need it, but we have to then listen to that voice within. Or listen to your wife if you're going out with your wife or your significant other. Like, you know, we're gonna go to this to this spa over here. You know what? I'm all for it, baby. Let's do it. So what does that look like? Is it different when it comes to like men and women?
Of course, it's different. I mean, the genders are raised with the mindset that women are supposed to be pampered. So men think that, okay, I got a part of being in a relationship with this woman is keeping her maintenance up, which, you know, first thing these women gonna tell you, you're gonna get my nails done, my hair done, you know, my feet done. So that's always been attached with women. So when a man come up and say, hey, yeah, man, I'm finna go get my hands and feet done, everybody gonna be, what? What do you mean? You know, because in our mind, men are out working. So why would you go get your hands done today when you know later tonight you got to go throw bricks or pick up rocks and dig dirt? That's a waste of money, man. That's a waste of time. So that's why the genders are viewed differently with the self-care, because as men, you're working all the time, so you don't need self-care. But as you're saying, it's my hands that need it more because I'm putting in the work.
Yes.
So I need that time out to where my hands can get reset from this pedicure or from this massage right here. It'll reset me. That way, I'm ready to again go back to work for another week. So, but it's the perspective that has been given to us that this is not for the males. This is only for the female. So until we change our outlook on that and realize that I think I need it more than she do, but I'm working all day. My hand is on this shovel 8-9 hours a day. So they go to cramping up, arthritis go to kicking it. Yeah, I need this right here for the longevity because I need this job for the next 5,000 years. So I need the longevity of it. So yeah, I need that pampering. So we just got to change our perspective and show that, hey man, this is not just for women. This is men, because the hands and the feet don't differentiate because of the gender. You know, the same nerves, the same muscles, the same sinews that's in it, they need to be worked. They need to be massaged. They need to be let loose so the blood can flow correctly again, so you'll be in better health. Especially the feet. All the nerves and everything in the body run through the feet. This is why we definitely need to get massages as men, because that resets our body and puts it back in a better position, which gonna create more longevity when you out there working. But now I can work 8 hours instead of 6 when my feet start hurting.
Yeah, for sure. See, you wearing them boots all day, all week, or your feet need a break. Yeah, that's the foundation of your body, but you're not gonna take care of them. And it's like the cultural, especially with the gender and the stigma. Like if you've never had the aromatherapy on your feet, where they'll not only just the pedicure, but they'll put it in the water and they use the herbs and toxins that pull everything. It's an incredible experience. What can happen with your feet. But even with the regular pedicure, because of the cultural norms and the way that we've been taught, like you have male and female who do both. Most men go in and automatically, you want a woman to do your feet. So if the man was there, well, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna have him do my feet. I'm gonna wait on a woman. That's your choice. But there's nothing wrong a massage on your feet, because a professional knows how to take that stress and remove those pains from your feet. But culturally, we've been taught, first of all, we shouldn't be doing it. And then when we do it, we have these isms and idioms when you go in there for self-care, self-help. Like if you went to the doctor and you were a surgeon, it don't matter if it's a male or a female surgeon, they're going in to do what's necessary. It's the same thing with your pedicure. Even like a lot of guys, it's like you get caught, and I get massages, and I've been conditioned. Normally, I want a woman to do my massage. But if a brother is a professional, I don't know if you've ever, and I'm so past it, but I can remember days of when the stress built up here and it's tight. how that piece right there, and somebody got a it feels so good when they know how to get that nerve and release that pressure. It's healing. And be it a female or a male, is healing. And we need it. But we can get caught up. Like you said, you shouldn't be doing it at all. Oh, and you had a man doing yours, so it must be something wrong with you. So we just have a lot to overcome on this soft life versus real life.
No, I mean that's a good point. I mean, I guess I have to get past that because I'm always looking for a woman.
we've been conditioned to do it.
Right? It's like I'll wait. I'm sorry, I'll just wait. And my wife was gonna say, "Oh, he rather have a woman." Hey, but she don't care. She can have a man or woman.
You see,
women are different.
And guess who lives longer?
Right.
They outlive us
Mm-hmm.
because we got these idioms and we just been caught up in our head.
Right.
They live in a stress-free. They know how to get past that, but we've been programmed to do it naturally, and we don't even have a second thought about it of saying, "No, I'm gonna wait for." Because I picked a woman. But why?
Yeah. Oh, is that a question for me?
No, it's an open question. Like, why? Why do we think it's like?
I think with me, I think it's just that's the images that's having a woman massaging my feet, the softness of their hands. I think all of that kind of plays a role, even when it comes to like massaging. That's having a woman massage me. It's just the image of a woman, the softness of hands, etc. That's just me. So I don't know about everybody else.
But now let me ask you.
Yeah, go
have
ahead.
you ever had the deep tissue? Because there's some women that know how to get in there, bruh. And you'll think she weigh 250 and get when they know how to do it, because there's a softness. But sometimes when they got to put that pressure, it's like, where they get all that strength from?
Yeah, and I had ones that did that as well. The last juice that I had, she would get deep into it and she would hit areas that I'd be like, you know what, hold up right there. No, stop. You know what I'm saying? Because that hurts. That really hurts. And she said, well, you're very tense in this area here. And I'm like, well, you got to do it like that. But no, yeah, and I agree with you. You know, it is a stigma. I don't think it's just in our community. I think it's in
worldwide.
Yeah,
right now.
when it comes to that.
It's cultural.
Yeah.
But it's miscultural. And culture, like, I don't want to judge anybody's culture, but it's like when we put those idioms on male and female, we do know we live in a misogynistic society where women were supposed to serve us. You go back to caveman days and you get a club, you bump your woman, you go hit the woman on the head and you go drag her back to your cave. Okay, but it's like, so are we still hitting women on the head with clubs and dragging them back to our cave? We supposed to know better than that.
Right. We're like 100 years out of really, affirmative action and women getting rights and
100.
Is it less than that?
It's
right? About 50 years?
50.
50.
In the 70s, women couldn't get a bank account without a man.
How many years is that?
We coming up on 50 years.
So 50 years. Yeah. So it's very recent. Like it hasn't been, like you said, it haven't been 2 or 3,
generations.
Generations. So we're still working on that. I believe we're still working on that. And when women are stronger than ever right now. I've seen so many different women organizations and groups, and especially within our sisters, man, there are just some powerful women out there. We're talking about excellence. I mean, our women are at the top of the mountain and beyond when it comes to that. So I just want to give props to our women. I always want to recognize them and always remember, it's King's weekend, happy King's Day. I know a lot of people are out there right now and they're celebrating, where they're having parades, etc. All props to them. But I think we're at that point where we get ready to transition.
Quick thought.
But go right ahead, sir.
See, but I'm working on myself. When I go, I always ask for, even though I say this.
Mm-hmm.
See, but I've been programmed.
Right.
When I know it didn't make a difference. But I always ask for a woman.
Yeah. I think it's in us. I think I was at the gym. I was trying to remember while you were speaking where I was at. And the guy, he was talking to one of the trainers. He was saying, "Hey man, you have something open for such and such." I guess he's a trainer. He know how to get deep into the muscles, and it's a guy, a big guy too. And I'm saying to myself, like, he let him kind of massage him and work on it. But he has a specific skill set, like you're saying. He know how to get into whatever areas that he need to get into and work those muscles out. So we can't sleep on certain things like that. And I get that, but you know, like you said, you trying to get past that. I got to try to get past that, and I'm not an athlete right now, so I don't need no deep muscle tissue.
Think back, even when we played basketball, and football in high school, middle school, and the little league back then. The coaches, when we used to get hurt or you get that Charlie horse, the coach would be the one who would be massaging it out. And we wouldn't even think about it.
Right.
Because it was all guys.
Right.
We didn't even think about it.
True. All right. So we're gonna transition right here. And we're gonna go to commercial break, and we're gonna come back and see what's on our brother Ezekiel's mind.
Because Scott & Associates always treats me like family, I refer my family to them. So when preparing for my taxes and I know exactly what to bring in coming in, it makes the process so much easier. Anyone should hire Scott & Associates because they are professional, respectful, and very knowledgeable. And with all of my heart, I can always count on them.
Hey, shalom and blessings, everyone. Author Jeremiah here. I am the author of The Spiritual Significance of a Name, Define Your Purpose. And I want to share some with you today. It's very important. As we go throughout life, we understand certain things to be challenging for us, right? But life can be a beautiful experience when we discover our purpose. Because then, and only then, do we discover that we have a true reason to live. Won't you go to the NOYstore.com and pick up a copy of my book today, The Spiritual Significance of a Name. That's the NOYstore.com. You'll thank me later. Until next time, peace and prosperity.
Oh, at this time we're gonna transition, but my brother, you was talking about it. I'm gonna let you share that.
Oh yeah, I was telling him that I've always only had a male masseuse, because this guy, his skill set was phenomenal and he knew how to be able to do it. And everybody in my circle always went to him. So it's kind of strange the one time that I had a female do it, when you can feel the difference because her hands wasn't as strong and as dexterous as what he was doing. And you didn't walk away with that same, feeling the looseness and everything. So I've stuck to the males.
Okay. I mean, and that's good, because like we kind of was talking about a stigma anyway, because like you alluded to, they're professionals. Mm-hmm. They're all professionals at the end of the day. It's just a mindset and, in choosing which one you want, I think, at that time.
And you see that for gym membership. Most males go and hire a male trainer.
Yes.
Even though there's female trainers at these gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is, oh, she a woman. She can't get me the physique that I need, so I'm going to get a man.
Sure. All right, so we're transitioning right now, and brother Ezekiel, what's on your mind, my brother?
Well, we know these starting 2 days ago and all the way through tomorrow, it's been a celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King. So there's parades going on, there's seminars going on. to enlighten the people about the dream that the good doctor had and how it is playing out in our lifetime. Because when he had this dream, the segregation was real heavy. The black and white separation was real deep. And now, in our day and age, that has subsided to a degree where now schools are mixed, the neighborhoods are mixed. So the violent mindset toward black people is not on the same level as it was and being broadcast in 50, 60. So now it seems that his dream is coming to pass. And depending on where you at in life, that will determine what degree it's coming to pass. So my thing is, with the good doctor having a dream of a better community, of a better nation, what is the dream of the audience? What do you have as a better community? What are you doing to make the community better? What is your vision for your children's children to be living in? And what moves are you making to bring that into reality? Because each individual, you have family members. So what are you doing to make them be able to have the soft life, especially in the black communities where black on black crime is such prevalence? How are we going to, as an individual, what part are you playing to bring that down to where your streets are safe, where your communities are ones that's flourishing, where people want to move into your communities instead of when they get wealth, want to move out of the community. So this is just something for people to think about over this weekend right here, because the great doctor made a sacrifice. He was a man that had the money to live a soft life, but chose to be in the trenches to be able to pick up those that had a hard life and show them a road and a path that could lead to a soft life. And he was trying to do that on a level to where he didn't promote any type of violence. Most of his stances was, if you can't be nonviolent, which I always thought coming up with the most ludicrous thing in the world, because you live in the most violent society that has ever been created in the last 6,000 years, and you're telling me to be the most nonviolent person, which I thought was utterly foolish, because you was depending on the benevolence of the man with the bat stop beating you instead of putting your hands up and trying to snatch that bat out of his hand, or removing yourself so the bat didn't reach you. But for his time frame, he understood that if you became violent with America, you didn't have the water for your communities, the food for your community, the ammunition and the weapons to go to war. Because all America would have had to do was close down the local Walmarts. That knocked 70% of the fight out of black people, because we don't know how to grow our food, turn off the water system at these wastewater treatment plants. You don't know how to treat the water so that it becomes drinkable. Shut down the local hospital, so when one of y'all gets shot, a gangrene gonna take you out. So he understood this. He wasn't in a time frame where we could go up against the most mighty military on the planet. So he went at them at a different method. And this is what we have to do today. Even though we more advanced with our warfare, we still need to take a nonviolent approach to greet our own communities where we can become a strong community. So take the spirit of the doctor, some of the precepts that he espoused to the masses of people, and begin to apply them. Don't just look at the parade and the joyful moments of everybody getting together. Let's make these next few days standard for what we do for the rest of the year.
I like that. We talk about Martin Luther King. we all can learn from him because, of course, his message was personal, but it wasn't just personal, or it was political at the same time. And when we look at it from a political standpoint, we see some of the changes that took place because of him, like affirmative action, some of those type of things, like the civil rights, movement. We know that he pioneered a lot of that. He got behind a lot of those type of things, and so we have to give accolades to him and works that he has done to make the Black community a better community to live in. Now we still have a long ways to go because we still have some work ourselves to do just to understand the importance of building our community and respecting our community, because I don't think we understand the importance of that. We don't respect our community like we should. Once we get to that point there, I think we're truly living the dream, because that's what I feel he wanted, and other leaders like Malcolm X, who was against, the nonviolence movement, who was for violence during that time. But, I think we have to get back to, just understanding, the purpose, like what you was mentioning, what can I do in the community to make the community better? And think of those type of things, and then begin to try to, to build on that.
Oh yeah, and it's good you bring up some really good points, like with Dr. King. He actually was in a position to live the soft life. People, have to be aware. He did not have to be in the trenches. He actually was well educated and was well off, but he lived his life as if he were in the trenches and didn't have to. Yet, I totally get it, especially for us as Black men, for what we have been through in this country. When Malcolm said by any means necessary, had I been in that day, or I'd have been a Panther.
Right.
I'd have been a Panther. Any means necessary. But you have to respect Dr. King, because it took a lot to say no. We go do this peacefully and nonviolently, because that will be the easy way. But to get us past this, we gonna have to be strong enough to let them sick the dog on me, turn the water hose on me, so we can shine a light to show that the only real way to get past this is love, because hate is always going to fail. Love is what conquers. It really took a lot to be nonviolent against a violent people, because like you say, they were brutally violent against us. And for you to stand up and stay nonviolent, and now we live in an age where we can see that that's coming to fruition. But we can't get comfortable because, and I don't want to get political, but we Dr. King said a threat to violence. I mean, a threat anywhere to justice anywhere is a threat to anywhere. If you know that saying, when we look right now in this country where you got brown people that don't look much different than us are being treated like turning the clock back to the 60s. And we have to be ever vigilant that that same mindset was just a few years back on us. And a lot of those who are doing it look at us the exact same way. They look at us, you just using them as a scapegoat, because we were the ones you were doing Dr. King's day. You just doing the same thing to a different group of people. But I mean, we got that same mindset against people that look like us. So we do have to continue. How do we live today? Make sure that this does not happen to us tomorrow.
It's real. Because we have to all remember that we're part of the human race. I think that was one of the things that Martin Luther King was pushing to the forefront. That's why he brought so many people together, and that's why so many people, fought with him that was of the persuasion, because of that main fact there, that we're all a part of the human race. And you see one human being treated the way that we was treated here in this country, that's the testament. Like you can't like I can't see myself treating another human the way that we was treated here in America. I can't see myself doing that. I don't care if it was a white person, whomever. I just can't see it. And that's just me. And I think that's in the heart of majority of people, that have some type of compassion, love for humanity. We was all made in the image of the Most High. And we all supposed to live according to his will. And a part of his will is, to build each other up and live in a society that we all can enjoy one another. So, it just brings to the forefront what his, message was all about, that unity and bringing people together, So that's what I say on that. I don't know if you want to chime back in on that, brother.
I mean, that's what it is. And we see it every day. Communities are being decimated by people in power that just are adverse to that particular culture of people, or don't want to see that culture of people rise. For 4 centuries, it was the so-called black man in America. Now it's shifting to other ethnic groups.
Yeah.
And that has to be alarming to everyone. Hey, man, the mindset ain't going anywhere. It's just shifting from one group of people to the next. So who's to say it's not going to boomerang back on you?
Yes.
So while the heat is not on you right now, you need to be prepared. You need to be precautious and start making moves in your own community so that if it do shift and the winds change back towards you, you'll have a defense toward it. The book tells us that wisdom and money is a defense. Defense is that which protects you, whether it's financially, domestically, educationally. You need that right there. So we need to begin to acquire all the wisdom that'll make our communities better by stopping the black on black crime, or black on any crime, or any crime against any people. But it starts, charity begins home. So you have to start at in your household. Spread it to your community, spread it to your town, to your city, to your state, and so forth. But it has to start somewhere. So since we know that Martin Luther King came with a particular message, start the ball rolling, and now we're getting ready to head into what's called Black History Month. And that has used the momentum for this weekend to keep pushing us so that when the Black History Month comes, we sure enough have that mindset already rolling. And that rolling can begin to avalanche into a whole year.
Right. Well, brothers, we're coming to the end of this show. So, you was just talking about, I give you the first.
Well, as always, live talk audience, it's been wonderful. Keep in mind that you out there at those parades, understand how he fought so that he can have a day. That was a phenomenal accomplishment for him to even have a day for us to have parades and fairs and everything. So begin to understand what joy looks like to you and chase it with every fiber of your being.
Yeah, for sure, man. Joy, that's a wonderful thing. Let's bring in some black joy in 2026, and now's the time.
All right, so I'm gonna leave everybody with this sense of reading. This is the Overthinker's Guide to Making Decisions. And I thought it kind of aligned with what we was talking about today. Just gonna read a little short something here. The mind craves certainty, it craves safety. But life offers neither guarantee nor control, only opportunity. It offers something more sacred, choice, the freedom to begin again, the power to create what's next. I'll say that again, the freedom to begin again, and the power to create what's next. I say from the host, peace and prosperity, and from Live Talk, we are out.
Thank you for watching Live Talk. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Talk Orlando. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit on the notification button so that you can see more videos like this. You want to join the show? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com. You can also follow the host on Facebook and Instagram at Arthur Jeremiah. And visit the website, thenoystore.com, to pick up your copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name.